Let us now discuss the philosophy of yoga. Before diving into the subject matter of yoga philosophy, let me start by giving a brief introduction to yoga. I will also discuss chitta and the elements of yoga, which is very important to understand yoga philosophy. When someone utters the word yoga, then the picture of pranayama, asana, bodily exercises, and concentration come to our mind. All these are components of yoga system, but I will be focusing on the philosophy of yoga. Like all schools of Indian philosophy, yoga also tries to eradicate the suffering. To achieve this aim, if Sankhya philosophy is a theoretical part, then yoga is the practical element. Applying the theory. The yoga system offers a practical approach to the problems in our life and offers its own answers to the various philosophical questions and the ultimate reality of this world. The word yoga means union. The union that yoga is talking about is between the Supreme Soul and the individual soul. It is believed that Patanjali is the founder of yoga system, whereas Sage Kapila is the founder of Samkhya philosophy. According to Patanjali, through yoga, one can attain perfection by controlling senses, body, mind, intellect, and ego. And thus, one can attain the highest wisdom through spiritual realization. One can notice easily that our mind needs controlling as it is always roaming. Similarly, in many cases, our sense organs misguide us. For example, when we identify rope as snake, etc., so it is necessary to guide our sense organs also. So according to Patanjali, through the practice of yoga, one can control his mind and sense organs in order to concentrate on any task and gain command over body and mind. Patanjali also prescribes the steps one has to follow in order to realize the true self, which is Purusha. When we realize this true nature of self, yoga says we can understand the reality of the cosmos too. Scholars have also written commentaries on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. For example, Vyasa has written Yoga Bhashya and Vachaspati Mishra has written Tattva Vaisaradi. According to Sankhya, there are two kinds of liberation. One is Jivan Mukti and the other is Videhi Mukti. Videhi Mukti is liberation after death, also known as Kaivalya, whereas Jivan Mukti means liberation when one is living by detaching from the karma theory. According to the Gita also, yoga and Samkhya are the practical and theoretical sides of the same system. Let us now look at the similarities and differences in Samkhya and Yoga. Both the systems consider that liberation can be attained through knowledge, and knowledge is about the true nature of self. Knowledge also means the knowledge of Prakriti, that is, how the Prakriti is responsible for producing different objects in the world for the enjoyment of Purusha, and how the three gunas or qualities of Prakriti, namely Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, contribute to different objects on this earth. Both Samkhya and Yoga also agree that liberation can be attained by controlling our body, mind, senses, intellect, ego. Both these systems, that is Sankhya and Yoga, also agree that there are three kinds of pramanas: perception, inference and verbal testimony. The last similarity between these two systems is that they agree that there are 25 metaphysical principles like Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, etc. Coming to the differences between Yoga and Samkhya, the only difference between them is that Yoga philosophy says that there is only one Purusha, whereas according to Samkhya, there are many Purushas and hence many number of selves. Let us now look at the organization of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. It has 4 parts. The first one is Samadhi Pada, the second one is Sadhana Pada, third Vibhuti Pada, and fourth Kaivalya Pada. The first part, which is Samadhi Pada, deals with the introduction to the nature of and methods of yoga. It describes the various modifications of organs including chitta. The second part deals with the explanation of the causes of suffering and how to eradicate them. Talks about the law of karma and bondage. The third part explains how to achieve supranormal powers and how yoga can help attain it. The last part, which is Kaivalya Pada, describes the nature of liberation and spiritual union with the Supreme Soul or Self. Let us now discuss the psychology of yoga. In order to understand yoga psychology, it is important to understand the concept of chitta. Chitta means the 3 internal organs as described in Samkhya philosophy, which are buddhi or intellect, ahamkara or ego, and manas or mind. Chitta is the first product of evolution and is dominated by sattva quality. Chitta, which is the first modification of Prakriti, is a material by nature, but due to its nearness or closeness with the Purusha, it acquires consciousness. Chitta is a material because it is derived from the material cross Prakriti, and it acquires consciousness when it is close to Purusha, which is self-consciousness or pure consciousness and eternal. When human beings or individual souls identify a particular object, then chitta gets modified because it relates with that object. This is called as vritti. But it is to be noted that there is no real modification occurring in the self, but only an appearance of change can be found due to the reflection of Purusha in vritti or modification of chitta. For example, take the moon in the sky and the water in the river. Wherever there is water, it gets lightning of the moon, which is Purusha here, but we know that the water of the river never shines by itself but is reflected. So in this example, the moon is compared with Purusha or pure consciousness, and the lightning of the water is the individual self. So chitta never relates to the object and there is no real modification occurring in the self. When the knowledge of an object is attained, the self ceases to exist from the modification of chitta and the self is detached from the association of joy and pain. This attachment and aversion is bondage, and to get rid from this bondage, human beings need to control the modifications of chitta, which can only be done by practicing yoga. According to Patanjali, yoga is the cessation of the modification of chitta. There are 5 stages of chitta known as chitta bhumi. These are Kshipta or restless, which is the first stage of chitta. In this stage, chitta is very much disturbed and agitated and attached to the worldly objects. For example, chitta of those who are greedy and desire for power. The next stage is muda or torpid. In this stage, tamas dominates the other 2 gunas, namely sattva and rajas. For example, chitta of an intoxicated person. The third stage is vikshipta or distracted. In this stage, the sattva guna dominates. Yoga begins in this stage and tries to attain God or Supreme Soul. Because there is dominance of sattva guna, there is a temporary ceasing of the modifications of chitta. The fourth stage of chitta is called ekagra or concentrated. In this stage, chitta is fixed on some object due to the preponderance of sattva, and one is able to concentrate on an issue for a longer time. For example, the flame of a candle that remains pointing up without flicking. The fifth and the final stage of chitta is called niruddha or restricted. In this stage, the impressions remain in the chitta after the cessation of the modifications. This stage is known as yoga. The last 2 stages of chitta are helpful to attain liberation, but the remaining stages are harmful for practicing yoga and thus may be removed by practice.